Hey guys, we just got back from Logan Lucky, which we went to instead of the Hitman's Bodyguard, partly because in the trailers this was like a redneck-looking comedy. It's a heist movie. Mm-hmm. This is a return of the director of Ocean's 11.
And your favorite movie, Magic Mike.
Oh, thanks, sure.
Don't call him out like that.
Whatever, guys. I've never seen that movie. Anyways, now you done screwed me up. Daniel Craig is in it. Adam Driver. And of course, Channing Tatum.
Your favorite, Channing Tatum.
You fucking jerk. He is seems to be a favorite of this director because they always seem to work together. You said he was also the producer in this as
Channing
well.
Tatum is producer in this movie, yeah.
And this essentially is it's marketed as a Redneck Ocean's 11, mm-hmm. And from the trailer it looked like a comedy. So essentially it's about a bunch of rednecks that get together to rob NASCAR. A bunch of dumb rednecks pull off a very complex heist, and that is pretty much it.
That's the gist of it, yeah.
That's the gist of it. We have the main character is Channing Tatum, and he's down on his luck, loses his job due to a limp, I guess, because he works in the mines under the NASCAR area. They're filling sinkholes to keep the racetrack going. Loses his job because he's a liability, a medical liability. He lost his, they don't want to deal with that. And so he gets the bright idea to just, rip them off. And he needs all these cast of colorful characters like we've seen in Ocean's 11, each with their own personality. I think the show stealer has to be Daniel Craig's character, Joe Buck. Every time he was on screen, I was engaged. I was interested in to see what he would do. But overall, this is a very weird film. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Very long. The cinematography in it is purposefully a lot of wide shots, a lot of awkward, lingering things. I'd have to say some of the worst Southern accents. So bad, in fact, that I almost think that they're done on purpose bad. Either Adam Driver and Channing Tatum don't know how to do Southern accents, or they were doing them a dumb Southern accent and a little overdone. I don't know if this movie's going to play well in the South. I know it's going to play really well in West Virginia and, Carolina. Mm-hmm. They were singing songs about that all day long. But for me personally, I didn't really like the music in the film. The vibe was really weird. But I don't know. And I was resisting liking the film, But by the end, I think it kind of got me. Let's have somebody else jump in here. What do you think?
Everything was purposefully over the top. The characters where their accents were strained, the conversations they had were strained. But it kind of flowed like the Ocean's 11 movie. There was a lot of character development in the beginning where they're introducing you to a huge amount of characters that were actually really important to the story. It just dragged on really long. Mm-hmm. I thought it was. It wasn't funny
a lot,
but it was humorous, right? There were some times where there was some, humor thrown in there, but not a lot of, laugh out loud moments.
You think it was funny, Joe?
For me, I'm gonna say the opposite.
First disagreement.
Second act, was dragging on for so long. By the time the third act came, I honestly did not care. I wanted it to be over.
Yeah, and there were scenes in there that kind of had no purpose. But then later on have a purpose, and they're explained. There's a whole scene where Daniel Craig walks into the wood shop in the prison, and he takes a drink from the faucet, and it's just dragged out, and I'm like, what is this? But you don't understand what it is until the very end. So there's lots of little hints and awkward things, and that might be good for rewatching the film and noticing stuff that you didn't notice the first pass. But Joe, you wouldn't watch it again because for you it drags so much. And I will agree with you in the sense that almost every single funny joke that was in the film that made us laugh was in the trailer.
Yeah.
You know, don't
Yeah.
turn around. I'm going to get naked back here, and
No peeking.
no peeking, and that pretty much. There's one other joke, and we don't want to spoil that one, but it's
Only
not
laugh one time.
not a laugh out loud film, not a pretty funny comedy or anything like that. But it's one of those films that, at least for me, and I know Joe got disengaged, but when you're subjected to this style of pacing and writing and characters and awkwardness, you can't help but be immersed in it.
Yeah.
And you can't help but sort of go along with what's happening. And initially it's hard in that first and second act because I didn't buy anybody's accent. I thought they were forcing it, and I thought it was almost slightly insulting to their characters almost. Just the way they were talking, it was just stuck out like a sore thumb, especially Adam Driver's southern accent. Just awful. And but there is, by the end, for me, there was some charm in there that kicked in. And when in the third act, there's almost like two movies in this film. Like it almost ends at a certain
One
point.
really bad long movie, and then kind of like a pretty good like short movie.
Once they hit the track, for me, that's where the movie picks up.
Yeah.
When they get to the
I was
track,
already out by that
you were
point.
out
Yeah.
by that
Well,
point.
you also had someone sitting next to you who was repeating all the
Yeah,
lines.
oh my God, that guy was pissing me
Yeah,
off.
well,
Really
yeah,
annoying
he was.
laugh. But at one point, this movie does one of those things where it introduces a character halfway through. No, more than 3/4 the way through
really
the
important
film.
character.
Yeah, Hilary Swank's character shows up as this FBI investigator. And by then, it's like, what? The film should be ending, but it's a whole nother movie where they're trying to investigate and see, you know, who's doing what. And so I was a little surprised by that. So pretty long film. It's one of those that's going to kind of try your patience if you're not fully into the world. And as a Southerner myself, I don't know. I didn't really buy any of it, and I didn't like it. It could be that, you know, the guy next to us was ruining the experience for me.
Don't point at me.
Not this one. But I just didn't like any of the music. I was and the redneck NASCAR culture. We've got Seth MacFarlane, I think, was in
Seth
this.
MacFarlane was in it,
Seth MacFarlane as this dick fucking
like a sponsor, I guess.
race car sponsor leads this team for one of the race car drivers. And they have this plot, you know, you're like, okay, well, you're going to go to NASCAR. Are they going to show the cars racing? Yes, they do, but it just kind of feels forced in there.
It was.
And the way his story ties into the whole thing is it just feels pointless and forced.
It was definitely pointless.
Exactly.
There is a twist, though, and the twist made the movie feel pointless.
Oh my God! If there was no twist, I seriously would have walked out.
Yeah.
I was so mad at that point. I was like,
But it should have
you
ended.
wasted my time.
Yeah, I thought our time was wasted, but that's when Hilary Swank comes in and you realize something more is going on. And I think by then, after kicking and fighting, I was like, all right, movie, your stupidity, your charm, and your awkwardness has won me over. But clearly it didn't win Otherjoe. What about you?
I thought it was worth a watch. I don't know if I'd rush to the theaters to see it, but I mean, this is, you know, most of the time I'm watching something on TV, I've got a laptop in front of me, and this is a perfect movie to have because you kind of get to ignore the first hour, and then afterwards it's great.
You can look away and not miss anything, really.
Yeah.
The last 10 minutes just didn't need to be there. Like the end, the heist ends. You know, everyone, you know, things finish.
Yeah.
And if the movie had ended like right after that, I would have been happy.
Yeah. So let's go and give some final verdicts for Logan Lucky, which is a film like came out of nowhere. I didn't expect it, and I was hoping to be really, a laugh riot, entertained, and a good
Likewise.
Ocean's 14 just with rednecks. Did you receive that?
No, and honestly, I did not buy the motive of why they even went there. I didn't see him struggling. He was just like, let's do a heist. I was like, why?
Yeah.
Just because he wanted to.
And he was able to get another job very
Yeah,
quickly,
he just-
relatively quickly.
I didn't believe the
They
motivation.
kind
for
of
this.
threw in
The
a little
two
bit
brothers'
of...
moral. I need you to tell me why we're robbing them. It's like, does this seem necessary? There should be so much more heist and so much less of this.
Yeah, these kinds of pointless, go ahead and ad-lib, guys. You know, some of it felt like that ad-libbing, but it was actually written by Rebecca Blunt, who nobody really knows, and they think Rebecca Blunt is actually a pseudonym for the director himself. Maybe they think that he actually wrote it, and he's just using a name that they sometimes do in Hollywood. So maybe those sections were written, but they were written really. All the stuff sort of falls flat in terms of the comedy.
That part did, yeah.
Whereas they were like, give us a moral reason to help out our brother Joe Buck in robbing this place. And they could have gone with any number of moral reasons. Like, oh, I lost my job and they kicked me out because I have a limp. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
And that would have been the reason right there.
Yeah,
But no, they go off on
my
a
daughter.
tangent.
I need to support my daughter.
I need to
Something.
hire
Yeah,
a lawyer
but-
so she doesn't go
But
away.
Yeah.
they play up the whole thing that they're so fucking stupid, the fucking stupid rednecks in the South. They make up this story about how, well, you know, you used to work at that grocery store, right? Yeah. You used to rob from it all the time. Yeah, we did. Well, we don't do that no more. Oh, fuck. Well, it's one time our sister went there and they weren't nice to her. And, oh, what? You weren't nice to your sister? Well, nah, no, fuck, nah, let's home do this. We got it. Praise Jesus. Yeah, come on, man. So, anyways, let's go for final verdicts. We'll start with Otherjoe.
With that being said, a 4.
Below average. Below average. You would not watch this again?
No, I will not.
Okay. All right. What about if it's on Netflix?
There's better things on Netflix.
Are there better heist movies?
Yes, like the one you haven't seen, The Town.
I have not
You
seen
need
The
to
Town.
watch
I
that one.
wanna
It was
see
a
that.
great one.
That's a different level. Like, they were trying in the town.
That-
Like,
that's
this
good.
they were not
That was
exactly.
Okay, how about
Heist.
Ocean's 11?
That one's
Joe?
a great heist, and it had comedy.
How many Oceans movies did they make? They made 3,
I
right?
I think we're
Yeah,
like
it's
Ocean's
Ocean
13, 11, 12, 13 or
Where
something.
does this rank? Because it's definitely worse than Ocean's 11. Definitely. But 12, I don't remember anything about. It was really
I don't
forgettable.
remember anything.
Was 13 good?
I don't think I've
13.
seen that one either. So,
I was saying
I don't
below
So this
all
is
of
just
those.
as good as
Below
Ocean's
all of those.
13.
where do you rank? What would you give it? Logan's Lucky. Was he really lucky? I guess
So
he
no
was.
halvesies. I would say
No halvesies.
No halvesies.
Here on the Angry Joe Show.
I would say a 5.
No,
A 5.
no
But a
pussy
good
foot
5.
around. See, yeah, it's an
just
average,
average.
film.
It's an
That's
average
on
film.
our scale is, you know, average is 5. A lot of people don't agree. You know, other outlets think 7 is average. It's not average.
No.
5 is average. So I'm gonna have to agree with you. I agree. I think it's an average film. It's such an it's awkwardly filmed. A lot of the jokes don't work. It drags. And the accents are terrible, but I think all
You
of
still
it
wanna stick to
combines.
the
I know, but I
five?
It's like
think
purposely
it's on
over the top.
purpose.
Yeah, I think it's purposely
I think
over
it's
the top.
on purpose, Joe. And I like making fun of rednecks. I mean, technically, well, we live in the South, and we can pull our redneck accent all the time. We make jokes, but it just wasn't all that funny, and it wasn't all that charming. But there was some charm there.
Yeah.
And I think that saves it for me, but it really doesn't bring it any higher than a 5 out of 10. I'm going to agree with you. This is something, like you said, you could play in the background as fodder on Netflix. You know, not amongst the best heist movies you've seen. So we're not going to recommend you run out
I
and
think
see
a Nut
this.
Job is probably better.
No, Nut Job. I am not seeing that. Nut Job 2. I don't know why it exists, but it maybe this film is better. I'm gonna make you see Nut Job now
son
that
of
you
a
said
bitch.
that. All right, guys. So that's it for us. We'll talk a little bit of spoilers, so you kind of maybe get in a
Yeah.
little bit about if you don't plan on seeing it, which save your money.
Netflix it.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we should see you on the next Angry Joe Show. So hold on, I just looked it up, and this is actually a 92%, no, 93%
With the
on
critics.
Rotten Tomatoes with critics. No fucking way. I mean, they must have really bought into that Southern
It
charm.
was so slow in the beginning. I cannot see this getting a 93.
Yeah, I'm
Me
really
neither.
surprised. So I recommended maybe y'all see The Hitman's Bodyguard instead. But that one actually got 30 something.
35.
And this one is 92. Well, this is just another example of why you shouldn't give a shit about Rotten Tomatoes and you kind of formulate your own opinion, or find critics who you like, I kind of like what he likes, or I like what that guy likes, and see what they say about it. Because I don't know about, now I haven't seen Hitman's Bodyguard, and none of us have, so we can't speak to that, but 92%, you thinking, oh shit, this is an instant classic, it's Ocean's 11, done better. No, there are way better heist movies, and this one has charm, but it's that very awkward, slow, meddling pace charm with very few laughs. And if it was supposed to be more that thriller type heist thing, it's not really there to replace the comedy or the laughs or anything like that. It's not there. So yeah, I was just surprised by that, and I had to. I'm sure. Time. So maybe we're gonna get fucking blasted for not enjoying this film as much as everybody else. But we'll see what the audience has to say.
It's our opinion,
and what you have to say if you've seen it.
And they could be wrong.
Yeah. Not that great. Not 93% great. I'm pretty sure this one's gonna be in and out of theaters pretty quickly. All right. Alright guys, this is the spoiler section for Logan Lucky. What can we spoil here? So, the racetrack transports money underground through those vacuum tubes.
Kind of cool.
They get this great idea that they can suck all the money because he was working underground and he knows exactly where the tubes run. They can get under there with some excuse, suck all the money out, and they need Joe Buck for explosives. But I don't understand why you even needed the explosives.
So to break the seal, because the things went back.
Make it go backwards.
They originally thought he was going to bring dynamite and blow up in the vault, and he looks at them and said, "No, stupid. All I need to do is break this little plastic valve so we can suck the money back out the other way."
And so he brings gummy bears and some liquid bleach pens and squirts. I don't know if that actually works. I don't know what the science behind it is.
I honestly
but
thought
it
he
leads
was
to the best
just
joke.
like start sniffing it.
That's what I want.
I thought he was gonna start sniffing. I was like, come on.
So they break him out of jail just to rob this place and then put him back in jail. So there are these creative situations.
Cool. I like that.
God damn it! I always want to put some of this stuff in the review section. The review section is so dry and shitty. Because we don't get to talk about this.
Do we know in the original, like in the trailer, they don't say that they break him out. We know that, right? Everyone knows that, but they don't know that they're bringing him back in.
Yeah, they don't know that. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
That's a very neat part, and how they get him back is creative with having cooperating with both white and black inmates. Okay, yeah. I thought it was kind of awkward. It said in the opening it was Charlottesville, or no, what was it? Charlotte, North Carolina, or something like that, where the protests were taking place, and I was like, fuck, a redneck movie right now. I don't know if people are into this. But no, there's none of that. It's cooperation between the races in order to start basically a riot in the prison that distracts them long enough that they can break out and come back, and then he shares the money with them at the end. But the joke is, he gets this gummy bear bag and fucking puts it in the vacuum tube. It doesn't explode. Instead, it shoots back, and the Adam driver catches it. And that made Joe crack up because
that's the only part.
Gummy bear bomb that he's like, fuck, what do I do? But he's like, oh, I twisted the bag too many times, and he untwists it, and it's one of those awkward shots. Where
doesn't make sense. It doesn't.
Very slowly.
It was humorous. It wasn't.
Puts it back.
I mean.
And then it blows up, and they suck the money out. He sucks his hand into the machine because Adam Driver's character is missing a hand and a forearm, not
an arm.
Forearm.
Not the arm.
I said forearm, Joe. That's a thing that he has. So, anyways, and they've got to retrieve this hand from the sucking machine so that they don't realize that he. Is a part of the heist as well. Adam Driver breaks into prison. Right?
Gets himself thrown in prison.
He gets thrown in prison.
Why did he do that?
Because he needed to
help Joe Buck's character get
somehow,
out.
yeah.
And they get Joe Buck's character out.
Joe Bang, right?
Joe Bang, that's right. Joe Bang, Joe Buck, whatever. Joe Buck is a broadcaster. But in the end, the thing that pissed you off was the fact that once they get all this money, they pull off the heist perfectly, by the way.
Yeah, no problem.
Like, these are the stupidest fucking, their helpers are the stupidest idiots ever. Joe
security
Bang's
was a
brothers
joke as well.
and security was a joke.
Was a joke.
During the hottest time of the year, Coca-Cola 600 in the Indy, they pull off the heist. But as they put all the money in this truck, our main character Channing Tatum just decides to leave it there and go watch his daughter's recital or beauty pageant recital. This is the Southern thing where she's dolled up in makeup.
It was
she's
super
gonna
creepy.
She's gonna sing like fucking Rihanna's Umbrella, and I was like, I'm not looking forward to this. But they did something nice with it, and it's probably the only moment in the film that says, we're just fucking with you rednecks and Southerners. We actually love you, and we know that you love your culture and your song, so let's all have a moment. And they sing Country Roads together. I was like, great. And he has a change of heart. And Joe was like, what the fuck? This might as well go home. The whole thing was pointless. But that's when Hilary Swank's character shows up, and what does she do?
She's doing the investigation because, yes, they do give back some of the money.
Well,
but something they'd mentioned earlier is because it's cash, they weren't doing receipts.
Yeah.
And so there's so much money coming in that they had no idea how much they were making.
We'll figure it out later.
Yeah, so like we'll figure it out later. So the money's returned, but they don't know if it's all of the money. And then several steps later, they're like, well, how much money did you get back? And the Coca-Cola guy's like, oh, don't worry about it. Insurance cut us a big old check.
Yeah, the track themselves, it's implied that they asked for more on their insurance, so they're happy, and they tell the FBI, who is getting closer and closer to the bar, the bartender, which is Channing Tatum's brother, Adam Driver's character. And they just say, forget it, because they made out good, clearly. And it turns out that Channing Tatum is a genius. Channing Tatum's character is a genius, and he was playing all of the pawns, even his brother. He was playing everybody. Yeah. It was only him and his sister that really knew what was going down. And so this other guy, Earl, who he recommended on an offhand comment for this one girl that he was interested in that gave him a medical shot. Hey, go down to Earl's, tell him that I sent you, and he'll fix you up with a carburetor.
He's Isn't that guy also the bouncer at the bar?
I'm not sure. But
I think so.
He was at least out front, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So we see him once. Still doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
but.
so he actually helped out. And you get to see this sort of where they go back and they show you what really happened, right? And he had a little side operation tricking Joe Danger and Joe Danger's brothers and everybody like that, and basically covering up for all their fuck-ups. Because when you use the explosives, you have smoke coming out of the bat machines, and it turns out he used his buddy, and he was just sitting in the break room smoking. So it works out really cleanly, and it is basically, they break out in and out of prison perfectly. Greatest heist of all time amongst these stupid-ass rednecks. It makes no sense, but you're like, all right. And then he fucks it up at the end, and through just a chance encounter, Hilary Swank is able to figure out who did it, but they don't care by then.
At the end, like that whole final scene didn't matter, and it should have ended with everyone getting their package of money.
Yeah.
The guy digging his up and he gets it. The guy opens it. Finally, they show you when he opens up, he gets a new hand and it's a trunk full of money. Everyone gets the money, and then they live happily.
And they should have had Channing Tatum smile at the end, and then that's it.
But it drags on for 15 minutes longer than.
But it drags on quite a bit, and in fact, it ends on Hilary Swank's character coming into the bar, the FBI agent, and after everybody has their little wrap up, it looks like Joe Bang is going to get with the sister character of our main characters, and it turns out that the brother, the bartender, is talking with Hilary Swank, and she's like, hey, pour another drink. She lets on that she knows kind of what's going on. She says, I think I'll stay here a while. And this was either a threat of her.
Go home.
This is a threat of her going to do something,
Yes.
or no? I don't think it was a threat of. No. Here's my interpretation.
Okay.
Is that she knew she couldn't do anything about it. She respected that character, and she's even attracted to him. And they wrapped it up in like, oh, they're gonna get together or whatever.
I think she's gonna just be
gonna
like,
resolve.
exactly.
No, she's not.
The last conversation before that was Joe Bang talking to the sister, and then she said, "Do you really think that the Logan hex And they talk about this whole movie. The Logans are
Yeah.
super unlucky, and they're constantly like bad things are happening to them. Like someone wins the lottery, but they lose the ticket. Someone like wins a lawsuit, but then gets hit by a bus. And so then we go to Hilary Swank. It's like, okay, well maybe she's the bad luck. She comes in and arrests everybody.
But
Yeah,
he leaves it open-ended, so
agree with
you
that
make up your own ending to the story. Then they end on this very awkward shot of they
I didn't
show
get
his
that.
old hand holding a beer, like, and I think that's just the director's way of saying, "Hey, cheers, audience! Look at this great job I did." And I was like,
I didn't get
yeah, it was all right. I mean, I thought it was clever the way the heist is. The characters are interesting in their own. Everybody puts on the best performance, even though they were cast purposefully miscast in order
if
to
they're going for over the top.
for over the top. And so yeah, overall average movie. I'm done talking about it because I can't think of anything else.
That's
Anything else
about
you guys
it,
want to
no.
cover in the spoiler
I'm
section?
going over the list of characters from this and Ocean's 11, and it's pretty much the same, exactly the same. There's like the two Idia brothers. There's George Clooney and Brad Pitt's character, which are these other two, and then there's the explosives person. And,
And
Yeah,
the
so
hot-
Steven,
you gotta have the hot chick too.
Steven Soderbergh, the director, he's pretty much making the same movies over and over, just with a different
Different themes,
theme.
yeah.
This one is the redneck theme. I don't think it worked quite as well as his original franchise. And that's about it, guys. All right, so maybe instead go see Hitman's Bodyguard. I don't know if that's. I know. It looked pretty funny. I see the poster is sort of like what's that
Bodyguard?
movie? Yeah, The Bodyguard with
Whitney
Harrison
Houston.
or Whitney Houston
and Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner, that's who it was. All right, guys. Probably go see that instead. All right. We'll see you on the next Angry Joe show. Bye, guys.